possible, so it's not like an hour and a half that they have to sit down and listen. Okay, so I have three papers to give you, so that you have them in your possession. You can start using them as you want to. First, before I give you the three new papers, the paper that you got last week, I want to make sure you still have it. So open your notebook and see if you can find it. It's the Chapter 4 test review and then the Chapter 4 answer sheet. Make sure you have that, because what I'm going to do at the end of class is tell you the exact numbers to highlight to practice. You will not be doing all of them. You're only going to do about 8 of them. Does that make sense? Yeah. Go to the front, look in the top right corner, and it should say Chapter 4 Review. Now, if you don't have it, I have extras. Go ahead and pull that out, get it together, pull the answer sheet. I'm going to tell you the exact problems to highlight, and then whichever ones, that I tell you to highlight, the ones left over, you can X out. All right. Yeah. It is, yeah. And y'all may, I don't know, y'all may find that you want to. Okay, so here's the new part. First of all, the answer key to that Chapter 4 exam review in front of you right now is going to get posted in Google Classroom. I didn't want to copy the answer key to Chapter 4, the answer key to Chapter 5, the answer key to the final exam. I felt like if I handed y'all 6 packets, y'all are going to be like, Okay, so you have the questions and a blank answer sheet. The solutions will be posted in Google Classroom. Okay, I worked them all out. I'm ready to post it. Here comes the Chapter 5 review that, once again, I'm going to tell you exactly which ones to highlight, which means the ones left over, you can X them out. And then, I'll print it, the box. Do you need that? You'll probably need that. Yeah, I'll print it. Thought I was doing so good and I forgot the blank answer key. So let me give you the Chapter 5, and I'll get the Chapter 5 answer key copy. Now, on the corner of this, it says test. It's because I forgot to change the word test to review. Okay, you have 2 more packets coming to you, and those are the blank answer sheets for you to do the work on those reviews. The final exam answer key, I decided not to post it, just to give it to you, because that's obviously the most important one. So I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and give them copies of that instead of posting it. In Chapters 4 and 5 test reviews, those answers are getting posted, okay? So you have the answer keys to all of them. It's just the final exam one is in your possession. Now, when you first look at it, you probably panicked by all the writing. I don't know if you remember me saying that I was going to write more on here than what's required, because I'm putting notes like telling you, find the slope by counting the rise over the run from the, So my little tips, tricks, here's how to do it, here's the formula are on here, which is why there's so much writing. Okay? The majority of the final is multiple choice. You can see where I've wrote like it's answer choice D, it's answer choice B. However, there are like 4 where you do have to pick your multiple choice, but then type something in. Okay? But the majority of it's multiple choice. I'm trying to find quadratic formula is on 18, and I will supply you with that formula so you don't have to memorize it. I don't think there's the x coordinate of the vertex of a quadratic formula is on 17, and I'll give you that formula. You don't have to memorize it. I think that was the only formulas. A lot of these, because they're multiple choice, a lot of these you can check your answers by working backwards from the answer choices. Like if it says solve, right? Yes, exactly. So keep that in mind. Wait, that's just one. All right, thank you. Okay, perfect. Hold on. Y'all always talk to me when I'm over here. Sorry, hold on. I'm sorry.
He held it for like maybe 2 minutes. So I put it down. Like I got it.
Hop up there and hit pause on the video. I'm trying not to get distractions away because those little background noises are adding to your stress right now. You just got a lot of papers. You would have gotten more if I'd have photocopied the solutions to 4 and 5. That's why I didn't do that, because I thought this is already enough. Go through the papers that you just got and organize them. Take a highlighter and highlight the titles, because they do look alike. They are not. They are totally different. One is a Chapter 4 review, then a Chapter 4 answer sheet. Maybe just highlight the 4 or something. I don't know. And then one of them's a Chapter 5 review and a Chapter 5 answer sheet. And then you have a final exam review, final exam answer sheet, and final exam answer key. That one you have 3 things. Put the final exam stuff at the bottom, because that's not till when? Monday. Put the need to know right now more on top, and that's the 4 and 5. Now, like I said already, you are not doing the entire 4 and 5s, okay? We are doing about 8 from 4 and 8 of them from 5, and I'm going to tell you which ones, but I want to get 5-5 started so that as I'm going through and finalizing it, y'all can be doing your 5-5 homework, okay? I just went in and removed 2 questions from the 5-5 homework as well, so it's only 10 questions total. When is the deadline for all your homeworks? Sunday night, because you do not need to be coming in here Monday trying to do homework, because Monday is the final, okay? So the deadline for all the homeworks is going to be set to Sunday night. Monday morning at 8, we will have the final. It's 20 questions, mostly multiple choice. And when I say mostly, I would say like 90% multiple choice. You can see it by looking at your review. Final. I'm talking about Monday. We'll take the final. As soon as you're done with the final, you will be free to leave. You do need to get those permission forms signed and turned in to me. Also, please bring your textbook. There was something else. Oh, my grades are due to the college by 10 a.m. and my goal is to have them done by 9:30. In case there's a hiccup, like last year there was a hiccup and everybody had an A, and I was like calling GNTC saying, this is not right. I can't roll these grades over. I don't know what's wrong. Call me, please. One of the exam grades in there turned from points to percentages somehow. So where people got 98 points. No, I said that backwards. I don't remember. I don't remember what happened. It was something from points to percentages, and it calculated everyone as an A. And that was not the case at all, which would really draw a red flag on me. But anyway, so my goal is to have it all done by 9:30 on Monday, and you will know your final grade by checking Blackboard. And then by noon, I'll say by lunch, I'll have Infinite Campus matched to exactly what the GNTC grade was. And if you're in a C or a D range, because GNTC's grading scale is different than Catoosa County's grading scale, I will calibrate that. So if you finish with a D at GNTC, which is a 60 to a 69, that will calibrate to a 70 to a 72, I think, 70 or 73, which is a D in Catoosa County. Does that make sense? So I'm going to make sure you have the same letter grade. Numerical grade may be different if it's a C or a D, but the letter grade will be the same, so you're getting the same quality points for your GPA. Y'all with me? Okay. And all extra credit will get added over the weekend. The only extra credit left to be added on Monday will be when you finish your final. If your final exam grade is higher than any one of your chapter exam grades, I'm going to replace it. Can't do that till you take the final. You with me? All right. Why do we not have flex Friday? Reese's Christmas program on Friday, because he's 4, I was looking at the 3-year-old grade time. His is at 10:30. So that's second block, and it's a 15-minute program, and then they have their little Christmas party where I just stand there to make sure he doesn't eat peanuts or peanut-contaminated foods. And then he's checking out with my mom. So I'll be back here Friday, like lunch. Whatever, if there's no, whatever the mid-flex time should be, I'll be back here. I should probably be over there 30 minutes tops. So that's not an issue. We need to start 5-5. What's up?
But the final exam grade only covers like your lowest like exam grade.
What do you mean?
Does it just cover all like if you got higher?
I would absolutely never replace all of them.
Okay.
No.
No.
I mean, I'm nice, but I'm not, like, that would draw a red flag on me from the college. I want to keep my job. Okay, so now what we need to do is go to 5-5. I've gone in my 5-5 notes and I've highlighted the ones that get repeated in the 5-5 mini exam or final exam, okay? So we are going to do those problems. We have a couple we're going to mark out and omit because they don't come up again. And then, do what? What?
Can we go through and mark the ones on the floor?
Oh, yeah. Well, I can easily post that, and I can't as easily post the lesson. Like, I want to give you the direct lesson in person, whereas if I need to, I could always post. You need to focus on these numbers from the chapter 4. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, while we're in here, I'd rather teach you than. But there's gonna be time for both.
Okay.
Yes.
Are you going to tell us what's for the mini exam or for the final exam?
Yeah, yes. You have the final exam review.
But like the study.
I'm gonna tell you, right now, focus on 4-5 mini. We're just gonna call it the mini. Focus on the mini. But I've lined them up. So what's on the mini, not all of it, but what's on the mini is also on the final. So by you studying for the mini, you're already prepping for the questions that get repeated on the final. And I did that on purpose so that you were not studying multiple things that weren't like I lined it up, I streamlined it, if that makes sense. It took an hour. to figure it. I was trying to make sure I didn't mess up, and I double checked it. And then last night at 10:30, I was going through and taking it to make sure I was correct. Okay, so let's look at 5-5. Your 5-5 notes. So there's nothing new here except for just now it's equation. Instead of an expression before, and you just rewrite it, or you type it in the calculator, now it's going to have an equal sign, so you're actually solving, okay? We're going to have both logs and exponentials. So the first thing you need to remember is if something's in log form, and you're struggling with it, try changing it to exponential form and see if it makes sense. Or if something's in exponential form and you're struggling with it, try changing it to log form and you can just type it in your calculator. Okay? So keep those conversions in the back of your mind. This slide right here is to show you that sometimes it's actually not a very challenging problem. It can be as simple as changing to markers so that it'll write when the bases match, the exponents must be equal. So if you have a very simple exponential equation in front of you and the bases match, like this first one right here, directly in front of you, folks. 2 to the 5x equals 2 to the 6. Solve. Well, if bases are 2, both bases are 2, then whatever the powers are has to be equal, right? So you just say, oh, okay, I'm going to take a highlighter. That matches that, so 5x must be equal to 6. You pull the exponents down and say, well, then they have to be equal. And then you solve. So x has to be this ugly fraction. Although it is ugly, it is the answer. So I'm going to draw a little arrow right here to these and show a note that says, hey, they match. Now you can only do that when they match. All right? Which takes us to the next question. Do they match? No, in fact, on the right, I don't have an exponent, right? Correct? Okay. This is where you've got to be a puzzle person, all right? Look at the right-hand side. 32. It's even, yeah? The base over here was the number 2. So play around with it. 2 to the, so count it out. So 2 squared is 4, times another 2 would be 8, times another 2 would be 16, times another 2 would be, so you can tweak this by saying, okay, 32 is actually 2 to the 5th power. And now they match. So again, because they match, I can pull the exponents down and say, okay, well then the exponential expressions have to match. Now you do want to check it, so you would go to your calculator. You do have to double check these, or not have to double, you do want to double check these to make sure that you just did it right. It's as simple as going to your calculator and typing the left side in. So 2 caret and then 3 times 4 minus 7, hit enter, and you should get 32, and then you know you did it right, okay? So take that 5 extra seconds to type it in. That type problem comes up I think it's in the homework. No. It's number 16. That exact type problem right there is similar to number 16 in the chapter 5 mini review. That exact type problem, okay, is going to happen in the chapter 5 mini review, number 16. All right, go to the next slide. What if you can't rewrite it as an exponent with the same base? There's no way to write 20 as 3 to some power. So in this case, you actually have to pull in the elements of logs and exponents to solve, okay? What you need to remember is the base of the exponent is equal to the base of the log. And then the other two values do what? They switch. So if you look at this example right here, this is an exponential. I need to solve it. I can't change this to a 3 to some power. What if I rewrote it as a logarithm? Would that help me? So you already know how to do that. So convert it right now. The base of the exponents, the base of the log, and the other two switch. So rewrite it. When you rewrote it, did you write this? Okay, so here's where after you say to yourself, oh, it's an exponential, I can't do anything here. I can't answer this in my head. I don't know what 3 to what power would give me 20. So convert it to a log. Notice x is now by itself. That means winner, winner, chicken dinner. You're on the right track. Now you just have to type this in your calculator. And you have a log button. You also have the fancy, we'll call it the fancy log button, where you can change the base. So you would go to your calculator. Do you remember where that is? Math, arrow up, and it'll pull the bottom menu. So you would go to your calculator, math, arrow up, and it's going to be log base. We're going to go to the nearest 4 decimal places. Make sure your calculator is in real mode. Did you get that same decimal as me? Okay. We are going to omit example 3. We are omitting example 3 because it does not. Now, it might be in the homework. I'll find the homework problems that it's in to double check. Can't remember off the top of my head. Let's go to the next slide.
How do you turn the log base thing off? Like, after they're on it again.
Clear.
Oh, it is automatically.
What do you mean turn it off?
Yeah, it's just
Yeah, you're in drill mode though, in order to get the correct answer. Yeah,
Thank you.
you're fine.
Mhm.
Look at the next example. You wanna highlight this one. This comes up again, so let's look at it. We have, what's different here is both sides now have exponents, right? Okay, so when both sides have exponentials, you can't do the conversion thing. The conversion thing's when it's, an exponential equals some value and then you have your base. If I went and tried to convert this, I would have to look at it and think to myself, well, what is it going to be base 4? Is it going to be base 3? So you should see that should be your clue that, okay, I'm not converting here. I'm actually going to now apply the inverses. Like if it had been a regular multi-step equation, if it was something added, I would subtract it, right? If it was something multiplied, I would divide it. So what we're going to do here, I want you to make a note. We're going to apply, what's it L, log to both sides. So remember in math, you can do whatever you want as long as you do it to both sides, right? Okay, so I could go in there and I could apply tangent to both sides if I wanted. Wouldn't make sense to do that, but I can do it, right? I'm going to apply log to both sides. Why log? Well, because these are exponential, and what's the inverse of exponential? Log. So it's the same concept, okay? You've never done this before, so I know it feels weird to do it here, but we're going to say, okay, I'm going to apply log here, and I'm going to apply log here. Oh, that's minus x. Now you got to know yesterday's lesson. Yes.
Why are you putting the 4 and x on long base 4? Is it because of different bases that you're going to
Well, because right now I'm applying, it's when you're applying log to both sides, it's understood base 10. Because remember, the idea is we need these to be the same bases as well. So it's a great question. When you're applying the log to both sides, I'm going to put base 10 right there, but I'm not going to write the 10 up here because I don't want to throw a whole nother number in the mix to make you confused. Okay, so now you can see why we needed yesterday's lesson. This up here in the exponents place, I'm going to change my marker so that I don't make it too crowded. That's an exponent, right? What did we learn yesterday about pull it to the front as a coefficient? So I'm going to draw an arrow. This is going to come to the front. What about this? It's going to come to the front. Now I'm going to write exactly what I see. All right, it's very important to put that in parentheses. So I've got parentheses x plus 3 log 4 equals negative x log 3. How many terms are in these parentheses? How many terms are right here? 2. And it's multiplying by log 4. So we need to distribute that so we can get rid of the parentheses. So this would be x log 4 plus 3 log 4. And then the right side just comes down. Now here's where some people get stuck. Remember, the goal is solve for x, right? Well, if I need to solve for x, then don't I need them on the same side? So, and don't I need anything that doesn't have an x to go to the other side? So here's where you need to remind yourself to, when I say isolate, I mean get, x's to one side. I don't know how to, that's not a constant, but non-x terms to to the other side. So I'm going to say rearrange. So x's are on the left, equals, and then I'm going to say number on the right. So you got your x stuff on the left, and you've got your non-x's stuff on the right. So in this case, it would be a swap of these two things here, right? This would get added over here, and then that one would, since it's positive, it would get subtracted to the other side. So we've got x log 4 plus x log 3 equals negative 3 log 4. What do you notice both terms have on the left? So factor an x out, which means you would have just the one. You're going to pick this x up. It's a GCF. You're going to pull it to the front. You'd be left with this mess. And what do you think is the final move? So it's attached right here by multiplication, so I'm just going to divide that over there underneath this mess. Oh no, because they remember the rule when you're adding with the same base, it's actually multiplying. But you don't have to. Think of them as just blocks. Because it didn't tell us to condense or anything like that, so just think of them as blocks. Because you're fixing to type this whole mess in your calculator, and then you're going to have the answer. Now, when you go to type this in your calculator, I would strongly suggest the calculator shortcut button, which is alpha y equals. I would suggest that one. So, typing it in, do the alpha y equals, you've got, do I hit the log button or do I need to go to fancy log button? So you've got negative 3 log 4, close the parentheses here, that is important. Then you've got on the bottom log 4 close plus log 3 close. And while that feels very uncomfortable, that is the answer. There's nothing pretty in logs majority of the time. So you got to get comfortable with those decimals.
How do I write numbers from the logs?
Kyra, will you show your calculator to him so he can compare? All right, so we are going to go to 4 decimal places. 6737. Now, let me show you one that never came up in the problems, but it could have easily happened here. So come right here and draw like a space. And put what if. What if you had like log base 3 of some crap equals log base 3 of some crap? You might know where this is going. What if that was our problem to start with? Oh, look at that. Just like with the exponentials, if the bases match, then the exponentials have to match. Well, if it's logs and the bases match, then the of has to match. So in that case, you would just set the of's parts equal and solve. So I'm going to make a note for the arrow. They match. So 5x minus 11 would have to equal x plus 7. And you should get 2. Confirm that you get 2.
What did you say this would be on? The money or the? Or the?
Which part?
You just said example 4 will be on.
Example 4,
The one we just did.
Should be on both.
applying, it should be both. It's like number 12. Actually, the exam's easier. Number 7 on the exam, the mini. Number 7 on the mini is where you just convert to exponential and solve. Number 9 on the mini. Number 9 on the mini is like this, right here. All the logs are equal, so the expressions have to be equal.
So there's 2 of them on the mini?
What?
So there's 2 of them on the mini?
There's,
Wait a minute.
yeah, the mini, the chapter 5 mini is just logs and exponentials. No word problems, no compound interest, no graphing. On the mini, it's just the converting or solving or typing it in the calculator. And that's because there's 3 of them on the final, which are just the converting or solving or typing it in.
This is not the final, that's on the mini. It's on the mini, it's on.
Let me finish the lesson and then okay. Look, let me finish the lesson because then that's you actually right here with me. You're not having to sit in front of the video like the juniors are. And then I have the list right here. I'm ready to tell you. I just wanted, in case you've got 19 minutes left. So, and then you'll know. You're going to know exactly, okay? I'm not sending you into the darkness. Yes?
Is it everything that's on top? Just on the sheet
That's it. You have everything. There's no surprises. And everything that's on the mini, what's on the mini is also on the final. And I did that by design. But I couldn't make the mini just 5 questions. So the mini is about 15, 17 questions where what's on the final, the 5 on the final that are from the section are also in the mini. Which is why y'all are like messing, or not messing, you're not messing it up, but you're gonna know, you have it, you're gonna know. You also have the final in front of you, and I'm gonna tell you which ones. I have it double underlined, which exact problems appear on the final, and I'm gonna tell you that. You can put FE next to it, so you'll know final exam. Then the ones that we also highlight but don't write FE next to are the mini. Does that make sense? Go to the next slide. Omit. Omit. Go to the next slide. You can already do this. I want you to solve that right now. Look at it. It's a log with just a value on the right, which means you can rewrite it as an exponential. So do that now. to write it as an exponential, you're going to see that x is now by itself. Which means now you can go to your calculator and you can type it in and you get your answer. What? What'd you say? Change it to a fraction. So the base of the log is the base of the exponent, and the other two switch. And then 3 to the negative 1, or 3 to the negative 2 power. Remember, the negative means you're moving it to the, you could go to your calculator and you could type it in. Hit math frac. Did you get 1/9? This is, if you didn't go straight to your calculator, which I would encourage it, but it would be this, which is why it's 1/9. If you remember, negative exponents moves it to the bottom. Okay, go to the next one. This one, what do you notice? They're both base 10, and on the right-hand side, you have just a plain old number, which means we want to get it to a single log, because then we can convert it. So this is why we had to cover yesterday's lesson, because that is it in expanded form with the plus sign. We need to condense it. I want to be able to write that as a single log, right? So addition condenses to multiplication. Now, there's two ways to condense this. You could go ahead and multiply the x into it if you wanted to. Probably would encourage that. Or you can write it that, okay, I'm going to multiply. I do the brackets because that other had parentheses. Now I'm gonna multiply that. So that's log of x squared plus 3x equals 1. So keep in mind the goal here. I have more room. Because the bases match and the right side is a number, let's get it to a single log, then convert. Okay? So that's the goal. When the bases match, you can write it as a single log, and because we have just a number on the other side, that means we could actually do a conversion here. What's the base again? It's an understood 10. It might help to put the 10 there now because you're fixing to all of a sudden see a 10 appear. Write the conversion. What would it be? 10 to the first power equals x squared. So remember the conversion. The base of the log is the base of the exponent, and the other two pieces just switch, right? What is 10 to the first power? 10. Now you have a quadratic. Get everything to one side and see if it'll factor. So I'm going to subtract this 10 over. Factors of negative 10 add up to 3. Positive 5 and negative 2, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Factors of negative 10 add up to positive 3. You got 5 and negative 2. Is A 1? If A is 1, you can go straight to your parentheses. You don't have to worry about something dividing out. So what's the solution that comes from this one? X equals -5. What about this one? Okay. Is it possible to have two answers here? Check it. They're the same base. So check it. So go to your calculator. I would go back to the original. Unless you have all the confidence in the world with how you wrote that single log, you could type it in that one. Go back to the original and just type the left side in and see if you get 1. So log of -5 plus log of -5 plus 3. So -5 is what's called extraneous, because when you go and plug it back in, it gives you an error, and that's because it's not real. If you remember, we had one of these the other day. There's no number that can be raised to a power to yield -5. It's not possible. So this is extraneous. If you go in and check 2, you're going to find that 2 works. You get 1. Multiple choice on the final. Nope. That's where I don't like that, but in terms of test taking strategies, it helps calm your nerves if you know that multiple choice is adding like a buffer of support. Does that make sense? So the answer is 2. Make a note. Check calculator. Check calculator, because -5 did not work. Go to the next one. The exact same approach. The difference is, instead of being able to condense it to multiplication, it would condense to division. So I want you to condense it and then convert it, and let's see if we get the same thing. Condense it, convert it. Okay, so it's a subtraction. Yesterday's subtraction rhymes with, so you're going to write it as a fraction. You're going to write it as a single log with a fraction between those of parts. Does that make sense? Now you're going to, now you have a log equals a number. When you get it down to like a single log equals a number, you can convert. So we're going to convert to exponential. What would it look like? What's the base of the log? All right. What's the exponent going to be? And then equals the of. Now, what is 3 squared, y'all?
9.
Okay. So when I write this, that's where the 9 came from. Right? No, don't get so caught up in this that you forget the basic principles of solving equations. Go back to geometry. Do you remember what this is called? It starts with a P. This type of equation. Fraction equals a fraction. Proportion. Do y'all remember proportions? Do you remember how to solve proportions? Cross multiply. There's an understood 1 right here that is irrelevant. So really it's this stuff over here, x minus 4, that's multiplying to the other side. So you got 9 times x minus 4, or you could do that in your head. But when I write 9x minus 36, I wanted you to know where that came from. Now you have a basic equation. So subtracting 2x, adding 36. Did you get 5? If I'd gone to my calculator and plugged that in as an answer choice and got 2, I would know it's correct.
These are always will have the same if I have, since I just multiplied it with my name on both sides. These are always will have the same.
Alright, one more example. Now I need to give you the list of numbers to highlight. This example is the exact same thing as this, but instead of log base 3, it's ln. So you try it right now. It's the same concept, but it's ln. I want you to condense the 2 ln expressions on the left. How would they condense? They would condense to a fraction. Now, this one actually ends up being easier. And that's because, look at the right-hand side. Is it a number? No, it's another ln, which means there's no conversion here. You can only convert when it's like a single log or ln or exponential and then a number. There's no conversion here. But this, you need to remember, what does ln stand for? Log base what? So that's actually log base e. What's this one? Log base e. So go back to that problem we did earlier. When the logs bases match, then the of part has to match, right? So this is actually just 4x plus 6 over x plus 5 would have to equal x. And it's because they're both ln, they're both log base e, so you can just disregard the log base e, the ln, because the of part would have to match. So we would cross multiply this over. Now you do end up with a quadratic, which means get everything to one side and look and see if it'll factor.
Negative 2 and positive 3.
Yep. Does everybody agree? And A is 1, so we can go straight to. So what zeros come out of these? Yep. Now, what do you think is going to happen with that negative 3? It's going to be an error. You can go in your calculator, you can check it, you're going to get an error. So algebraically, negative 3 is an answer, but in terms of the actual log, negative 3 is not real. So the answer is actually just 2. Most of the time. I'm trying to think of a counter example in my head, so I'm afraid to say, I would like to say yes, but I'm wondering, all of ours will.
What, so like, say like, if I do.
You need a highlighter.
Should I just go ahead and always check?
I would just check it, yeah.
Wait, actually, 5 is like easy.
Which is why the majority of the questions on the mini are from 5. On the mini, I pulled most of them from 5. It's the freshest thing in your mind. It's the algebra. It's not the long rational root theorem stuff. All right. The chapter 4 review. Please get that out. You can either go to the, I would go to your answer sheet. Go to your answer sheet because then it's going to be less crowded. Let's go to your answer sheet. Go to the answer sheet for chapter 4. That's the one you should have gotten last week. So pull that out. All right, here's what you need to highlight. We're going to highlight what's on the final first because we're going to write next to it FE, or the word final. You ready? So in terms of the final, I'll actually put those in. You want me to put red? Okay. So in terms of the final, number 12, number 14, 15, and 16. Those appear again on the final.
Oh, shit.
Okay? Now, I need to tell you the others from chapter 4 that don't appear on the final, but they will be on the mini, unless I trim it down. So I'm going to go back to purple. You're going to appreciate these. I went with every single one that was just type it in your calculator. I went with every one of those. You're welcome. I went with every one of them that was, I'm trying to think, chapter 4. Is it a 0? Where you just plug it in and see if you get the number 0. I went with those, okay? So here's the others from the mini, for the mini. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Hold on. The orange is the final? Yes. Okay. So FE.
And 5. I got you, Jace. I'll get you in a minute. I'll help you out.
I don't have your picture.
You actually do. The chapter 4 stuff was handed out last week. You probably lost it.
Oh, no, I didn't. I'm sure. I'm
So,
This is
the orange is questions on the chapter 4 review that are absolutely in the final. The purple is the fluff for the mini. You with me? And I went with the least steps involved type questions. All right, let's repeat. Chapter 5. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year. Here we go. I'm going to orange. These are absolutely on the final. 6, 9, 14, 15. Now here's the beautiful thing. Once you have gone through and highlighted these questions, I would get a black marker and X out the boxes that did not get highlighted. You know what I mean? On your answer sheet. So then when you're sitting down and doing your review, you'll skip those questions. Does that make sense? That's how I would organize it. All right, you ready for the fluff? You should know that for the fluff from chapter 5, once again, I went with the ones that are type it in. Or like log base 5 of 5, where it's 1, you know what I mean? I went with the ones that make your life easier, okay? All right, there's several here because there was a lot of just type it in from chapter 5. So when I write this, don't panic. It's a lot. When you go and sit down and do it, you're going to see, oh, that's type it in. Type it in. Oh, my word. Thank you, Miss Holcombe. Type it in. You should get it right. You with me? All right, you got 2, 4, 7, 11, 13, and then 16, 17, 18. Lots of fluff. Lots of just type it in or just convert it. I may take 16 off later, I don't know. But be ready for it. Maybe I'll make an extra credit. So what I would do if I were y'all is I would go on your answer sheet now and find the ones that you didn't highlight, and I would put a big X so you don't look at that question. You can take a picture of it. It's also in this video if you need to come back to it.
Like chapter 4, we only need to
Because chapter 5 is the most recent, and I wanted to put the majority of the questions with the most recent stuff. Also, I think more people like the algebra in chapter 5 and not the rational root theorem, synthetic division, long division, all that from chapter 4. Yeah. There's one question from chapter 4. I'm going to give y'all a half sheet tomorrow. Remember the half sheet thing? I'm going to give you a half sheet for your mini. And I'm going to tell you this tomorrow. But I would put on it how to find the vertical asymptote, the horizontal asymptote. We're not doing slant. How to find... But I'm going to give you a half sheet tomorrow so you can use that for your mini. And then every single person submitted a review for GNTC, so you're going to have a 3x5 note card for your final. And I'm not giving you that till Friday.
Why I talked to you during Flex on Thursday, are you able to talk us through
Yeah.
the chapter 1 to 3?
Yeah.
Lessons. Because we have like the for like 3.1, you have those questions.
Oh, shoot.
Do you know
Hey,
what I'm talking about?
y'all, tomorrow remind me to tell you
What questions are there?
the final exam review. It's right here, it's somewhere. Anyways, the final exam review, the ones with the problems, it cut off when I copied it, the first number. If you look at your review, you see,
where it says like 1.4?
yeah, the first number cut off. Now that one says 1.4.
Wait, are you putting the
Like, remember when I was saying, that's it. You remember when I was saying like number 1?
I still have it.
So tomorrow, remind me to tell y'all that. In fact, I'll just write it on the board right now too, and I'll just make sure.
So you can see the steps.
That didn't copy for some reason.
Mariana, can you tell them how we were